All right. So in this video, or in this lesson today, we are going to be talking about how do we figure out our hotel's place in the market, okay? And then how do we also compare, how did our performance of our KPIs compare to the performance of our competitors, okay? So when I say the market, okay, what does that mean when I say market?
Of all hotels.
Say that?
You're talking about all the hotels in the area?
Yeah, okay, so I may say, I may look at the San Antonio market, meaning I'm looking at all the hotels in San Antonio. I may say I'm looking at the downtown market, which means I'm only looking at the hotels in the downtown. Okay. I may say I'm looking at my hotel is number 2 in all Hiltons in the San Antonio market, which means every Hilton hotel in San Antonio, taking those into consideration, my hotel is number 2. Okay, so when we're looking at the market, we are looking at specific areas, specific regions. Okay, and so that is kind of something you want to think about as you go to different um, conferences or you go to different luncheons and you hear that terminology. When they're talking about the market, they're talking about a specific area. Okay, what does the word capacity mean? When you hear the word capacity, what do you think about?
How much?
How many people can fit like in a restaurant or a
Yeah,
hotel?
exactly. This room has a capacity. There's 40 chairs in this room, right? How much can we fill in this specific space? Okay. And so what we want to know is when we're looking at the capacity of the market, is how many, if every single hotel was fully sold out, what is the percentage of that market that hotel represents? Okay. So we want to look at that too, because we want to make sure that whether I'm looking at my performance or my competitor's performance, who got their fair share of the market. Okay. The fair share of the market just means that I achieved either the percentage that I have of the market or more. If I achieved my percentage, then I'm good. If I achieved more, then I got more than my fair share, meaning somebody else did not get their fair share. Okay. And I tell you what, revenue managers are super competitive. They are always wanting to be the first in their market. Okay. So the fair share is basically those individuals got more than what they are allowed based on the capacity market share. Okay. So let's do a quick example. Okay. Let's just do 4 hotels. You can write this in your notes. Ooh, why is this not working? Okay, A, B, C, and D. Okay, A, B, C, D hotels. Let's say Hotel A has 500 rooms. Hotel B has 400. Hotel C has 450. And Hotel D has 300. Okay. That's how many rooms in each hotel. So if I add those all up, what do I get?
Hmm.
15 or 16?
16.
1650? Someone double check, because I did that in my head. Yep, we're good, Russell? Okay. So 1,650 rooms is the total rooms in these 4 hotels. Okay. Now, if I divide each one of these by 1650. I'm gonna find my percentage. Okay? If I divide that by the 1500, the 500 divided by 1650. Alondra, what do we get? 500 divided by 1650.
Point 30.
So 0.33 repeating?
3030.
Oh, 303, okay. So that, if it's 0.03, sorry. 0.303, move that decimal place over 2, and that means it's 30.3%. So Hotel A represents 30.3% of the market. Okay, what about Hotel B?
4%.
Emilio,
4%.
24 exactly, or is there any decimals?
24.24.
24.24,
24.
okay, so 24.2%. B is 24.2%. Okay,
27.27.
so 24.3%.
No, 27.
27.3, sorry, thank you. (27.3%).
18.1.
2%.
Yeah, 18.2%.
18.2%. Okay. Now, how do I know if I did my math correctly?
Up to 100.
If I add these up and I get 100, then I'm pretty close to that, or I'm close to 100. Based on rounding, we might get 100.1 or 100.2
Actually, 100
based on
exactly.
rounding. What's that?
It's 100 exactly.
It's 100 exactly? Okay. So this is the concept of capacity market share. So in the market, Hotel A has a 30.3% market share. If we were to put this into a pie chart, okay, let's see, these are about 25%. So let's go ahead and put those there, B and C, and then A, B, C, B. This is what that kind of represents roughly, okay, of what the pie chart looks like, the piece of the pie. Okay, that's our capacity market share. Now, we're gonna do after this, we're gonna do an analysis of an actual, what happens when we look at the rooms that were actually sold. If Hotel A got 29% of the actual rooms sold, did they get their fair share?
No.
If Hotel A gets 29% of the actual rooms sold, did they get their fair share?
No.
No.
No. In order to get their fair share, they have to get 30.3 or higher. Okay? If Hotel D rocked out and got 25% of the rooms actually sold, that means they got more than their fair share. Okay? And so that's what we're going to be looking at when we're looking at the capacity market share and the fair share comparison. Okay? We're going to find out first, what is the percentage? What's the piece of pie for the market? And then we're going to look at the actual performance and who got their fair share or not. Okay? Yes, sir.
In real life, I know we're just doing an example.
Yeah.
Do they add every revenue like the hotel?
We're looking at rates only.
Just the rates?
Rates only.
Okay.
Yep. You're not looking at anything else but rates. And now we'll talk, I think it's at the end of this chapter. We'll talk about the STAR report. Smith Travel Research. How many of y'all work in hotels? Awesome. Okay. You might ask to see what their latest STAR report is. Okay. STR Smith Travel Research. Smith Travel Research, basically everybody gives them their numbers. Now, they don't actually tell you who the hotels are, right? They kind of keep that anonymous, but you will identify who is your competitors. Who do you want information from? And then they will tell you during this last week, during this last month, this is where you stand compared to your competitors. Okay, so people like businesses, hotels literally have to basically like a subscription base. You sign up and you say, here's my information, and I want information on these hotels in my comp set. And they'll send you a report to figure out where you stand. Okay. We're going to talk about the penetration indexes. This is again how we compare what our total is compared to the market as a whole. Okay. So with this, yeah.
So the one that we work at is like the Spring Hill and then the Fairfield. So like
Okay.
they share the same property.
Okay.
Would they add total both of like their rooms together and then find out their, I guess, other hotels that are doing it? Or
That may be a great question for you to ask and maybe mention in a practicum report. I mean, just saying, that might be some good information to include in a practicum report. Okay.
But then-
And let us know, because honestly, I don't know the answer. That's my way of saying I don't know. Okay.
Okay.
I would ask someone in that situation. I'm not familiar with the dual properties. I would assume because Spring Hill and Fairfield are slightly different properties. They're both Marriott, but they're slightly different. Fairfield is probably what I would consider right below a Spring Hill. Spring Hill, I think, is slightly above a Fairfield. And so also Spring Hill is all suites. So that puts it into a different category than standard rooms like Fairfield that has just all standard rooms, maybe a few suites. And then correct me if I'm wrong, Spring Hill, there's not like a small kitchen in there, like a regular size fridge and like glassware and plates and silverware. No, I'm not sure. I don't think so. But like things like I would say like a Home2 Suites or a Homewood Suites or a Residence Inn by Marriott. Those are more considered what we call long-term, extended stay hotels. So in the like in the rooms, they have a full-size fridge, china, glassware, plates, silverware. That some of them even have a small little two-burner stove top. So it's like a small little apartment, right? I don't think Spring Hill Suites is quite there, but it's a larger space, but it's not quite there as far as like extended stay. So I guess what I'm trying to say is Spring Hill Suites and Fairfield are probably in two different categories. If Spring Hill Suites is an all suites property, they may be more in line with like a La Quinta that's all suites. Whereas a Fairfield may be more in line with a La Quinta that's not all suites. That's just how I would think about it, but a good question to ask to see what that's like, to connect what we're talking about in class to what you're doing on the job. Okay. So with the penetration indexes, we are looking at ADR, occupancy, and RevPAR. Those three KPIs. And how does ours compare with the average of the market? Okay, so we figure out what our occupancy percentage is, and then we figure out what the index is for each hotel compared to the average of the market. Okay. So for example, we take the total room nights sold divided by the total total available room nights, and that is the average of the occupancy. So we take all the room nights that were sold for the hotels, and we divide by all the rooms available, and that gives us our percentage for the hotels. And then the penetration index is what is our hotel occupancy divided by the average occupancy of the market. Okay. We're gonna get some practice with this, so hopefully this will make a little bit more sense once we go through, okay? With market intelligence, basically, market intelligence is just information about the specific market. Okay, so like I said, the STAR report is issued. Do I have one here? When you guys are working on your assignment, I'll pull these out and see if we can find something. So, Source Strategies is a local San Antonio company, and they also do something very similar to what the Smith Travel Research, the STAR report does. So they collect data on all the hotels based on the hotel occupancy tax. Okay, what is the hotel occupancy tax?
Text or text?
Tax.
Oh, the
Hotel occupancy tax. You might hear it referred to as the hot tax. Okay. Hotel occupancy tax is what is added to every single room night. Okay. It includes not only state taxes, it includes county, and city taxes as well. Okay. So state, city, and county are collecting taxes on every room that's sold. Okay. What Source Strategies does is the hotel has to report their hot tax to the state of Texas as their tax reporting. So that's public record. Source Strategies takes all that information and they determine, based on what is filed with the state of Texas, what their average daily rate is, their occupancy percentage, and their RevPAR for every hotel in the state of Texas. So this notebook right here is the second quarter. Okay, second quarter is January, February, March, April, May, and June. So in 2013, in April, May, and June, this is information about every single hotel in the state of Texas. Okay, I can look at this up and I can see that. Sorry. Let's see. Let me pull. Let me pick the Super 8 Motel in Kemah, which is just north of Galveston. Super 8 Motel in Kemah had 42 rooms. Their room revenue was 478,000 in 2012, and it was 555,000 in 2013 for a 16% increase. Their ADR in 2020 or 2013 was 64.27%. Their occupancy was estimated at 51%, and their RevPAR was estimated at $36.27. Okay, so we could take all of those hotels. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 11 total in the Kemah area. I can look and see how each one of these hotels performed in that Kemah region, okay, compared to their competitors. Danielle.
No, I'm sorry. What did you say that the tax was for?
The hotel occupancy tax is state, city, and county. Okay. Do we know what San Antonio's hotel occupancy tax is?
9%. Oh, that's right here.
The hotel occupancy tax.
Yeah, it says the city's HOT rate is 9%, comprised of 7% general occupancy tax, 2% for the convention center and state extension.
Right.
And the city collects 1.75 for Bear County.
Yeah, so that's the city's portion is 9%.
Okay.
The total hotel occupancy tax, the city of San Antonio is 18%.
Good.
Wow.
Okay. It is, I think, the second largest. Let's look at that real quick. The only one that is larger is the El Paso, not the only one that's larger than San Antonio. But the El Paso hot tax, I think, is 19.2%. Um, I think the occupancy tax for El Paso is 19.25%. And that's the only one that is higher than 19%. The state of Texas set a limit of 19%, but that was already 19.25. So they're grandfathered in. They can charge more than 19%. But the state of Texas has a maximum of 19% as the hotel occupancy tax for state hotels in the state. Yes, Sarah.
So, our property, we do have the 18% occupancy tax, but on our Fairfield side, it's 1.1675. For some reason, is there
Yeah.
a reason for that?
That's a good question. So she said, we have the hotel occupancy tax. Let me get my pen real quick. The hotel occupancy tax is 18%. Okay. And then what was the other number?
1.1675.
1.1675%.
Yes.
Okay. I believe that is the TPID. So TPID is Tourism Public Improvement District. TPID, Tourism Public Improvement District. In the city of San Antonio, we're going off on a little tangent real quick, but that's okay. This is good information to know. In the city of San Antonio, the TPID applies to any hotel that has more than 100 rooms. Any hotel that has more than 100 rooms, they collect, I thought it was a 1.25%. Did they change the TPID?
What's the TPID?
District. So basically what it's saying is everyone within this specific district or the specific area that has more than 100 rooms, they pay this additional fee. Okay, let's do a Google search for it. So I want to make sure. And what is the purpose of a TPID? It's a great question. I'm glad you asked. The purpose of the TPID, Sarah, do you know what the purpose is?
No, but I want to know.
Okay, awesome. So the purpose of the TPID is to raise money for the city of San Antonio. Okay, it's a fee that our visitors are paying.
Oh, it's like if I'm going to Mexico City or to Mexico, if I don't go with my Mexican passport and then I register my flight with American, I need to pay $35 extra. It's like the same.
I'm not quite sure if that's the exact same. But it is, the TPID is designed, and you'll start seeing a lot of cities around Texas trying to create these TPIDs, these public improvement districts. And it's essentially what they're saying is on a specific product, which is in this case a hotel room, on a specific product, we're going to charge a fee, a tax, not a fee, it's not a tax, sorry, it's a fee because it goes on before taxes. So it's a fee that's added on. That fee is then collected and then it's dispersed on how the TPID board of directors determines it needs to be dispersed. Okay, so couple of ways that TPID money in San Antonio is spent is any hotel that is over 100 rooms that is part of the TPID, their membership to SALA is automatically paid. They don't have to pay a membership to SALA, San Antonio Hotel Lodging Association. So SALA receives funds from the TPID. Okay. Now, SALA was instrumental because they were the ones as the organization that went around to every hotel and collected signatures from all the general managers and or owners to say, yes, we want to be part of the TPID. Yes, we want to charge our guests an extra 1.25% fee. Okay. So that was a whole process that happened. The other benefactor for the TPID is Visit San Antonio. So Visit San Antonio gets an additional, I believe, I don't know, let's figure that out. I don't want to misspeak. Tourism Public Improvement District. Let me clear the screen real quick. So they apply a fee of 1.25% on every room sold. Okay. I guess we have to call for information. That's okay. You guys have an in. I'll ask Michelle what that looks like. I think I'm gonna see her I'll see her on Thursday for a committee meeting. So I'll ask her about the hot tax and what it collects. I do know that that is one way that Sala as an organization, because of all the effort that they put up front as collect all the signatures and doing all the legwork for it, I know that part of that is Sala does benefit, and that's one way they're able to give so much scholarship money every single year. They've been able to increase their scholarship money because money comes in from the TPID more regularly than before they had the TPID. That was a different line item on their budget. So those scholarships and ways that they give back to the community and to the schools has definitely increased, I think, as a result of the TPID money that's coming in. But I want to say, I don't want to misspeak. I'm going to put it on pause just for a moment. Okay, so the hotel occupancy tax is 9. That's what it is. El Paso's is 17.25. I know that because I wrote a paper about it when I was in grad school. So El Paso is 17.25. It's the only one that's higher than 17%. So 16.75 is as pretty close as you can get to 17 without going over, right? And so that's why we started a TPID, because you can't increase the hotel occupancy tax beyond 17%. And so that's where the TPID comes in. That TPID is a fee. It's not part of the hotel occupancy tax, right? It's part of the fee. And then that 16.75% is taxes added on top of that. And so that is what is added to every single hotel room. Okay. When I travel for work, I'm a state employee, so I'm tax exempt from the state, but I still have to pay whatever the city tax is and whatever the county taxes or any other kind of fees that are associated. Okay. This 9% for San Antonio, the city, 7% goes to the city, and 2% goes to pay for the convention center debt, the debt on expanding the convention center. So that 2% goes to pay that bill to resolve that debt for the convention center. So that's how the city of San Antonio spends it, right? And then that 7%, there are specific ways for the state of Texas that the city of San Antonio has to spend on that 7%. And that's what this THLA on a regular basis is going to Austin to advocate for. They protect the hot tax. Some cities think, oh, I'm going to use the hotel occupancy tax to build a new park. Well, is it really going to increase tourism, or are you just building a new park because you want a new park? Okay. And so that's one thing that's really one thing that's really common on most agendas for the hotel tax advocacy for almost any tourism industry related association is the hotel occupancy tax and protecting the use of that. Because as soon as cities start believing they could use that money for whatever, they're going to take things a little bit for granted. One of my favorite examples, this is horrible to say this, but one of my favorite examples is that during the pandemic, people weren't staying in hotel rooms. So what do you think happened to the hotel occupancy tax money? There wasn't any coming in. So, okay, let me go off on a little bit more tangent. We'll get back on track. Good questions. All right, so these are just a couple of examples of market intelligence providers. Again, market intelligence gathers the information, It tells you how you're performing against your competitors. And so Smith Travel Research Star Report is one of the most common. But San Antonio here, we have Source Strategies as a local organization as well. Okay, so what we're going to do is pick a card, any card.
Can we look at it?
Yeah, you can. So what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna basically put you into groups so that way you either get up and move around or you're not sitting with your friend. So it forces you to get up and be social.
Yes, Sarah's.
We are social. We are social. We talk at work.
I don't know. I just-
Yes, Sarah, so, I was like, we talk at work. Oh, yes.
I know, that's why I said,
Did you guys
y'all need to be separated.
Oh, you're into-
We don't need to be separated.
Just like frickin' Fred up there.
Dang.
Frickin' Fred's gonna be separated.
Separate sides.
Frickin' Fred,
I talked to John.
frickin' Fred.
What do you say?
He said we need to talk to
Ronnie.
Ronnie.
I'll figure out which group you're gonna go in just a second.
Okay,
Okay, everyone look at your cards. If you have, what card do you have? A black number? Okay, so it was either gonna be a black number, red number, black face card, or red face card. Okay, so 4 groups. Okay, so the black numbers come right over here. What do you have?
Black Queen.
Which color? A black queen? Any black face colors over here? Okay, so the black face cards over here. Okay. Red numbers. Where my red numbers at? Raise your hand real high. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so well, it's 2 and 2. So why don't you all go towards this back? What do you have, Jesse?
Red king.
Red face cards? Okay, right over here. Okay. So go ahead and move. You're gonna need your notes with you. Go ahead and move. You'll need your notes with you. We're gonna go over a market analysis. Okay. We're gonna go over a market analysis. Sarah, what card do you have?
Red face card.
Red face card?
Face.
Okay, cool.
I.
So with on the right face card, right?
Yeah, black number cards,
Oh,
black face card, you're right here.
so I don't have to move.
Black face cards, red face cards, red numbers, black numbers. So Samantha is she a red face card? No, she's a black face card. Sorry here. Okay, Danielle, come on up here to this group.
That's that.
So Samantha will come up and join you guys. Black. Black.
Yes. We still stayed with the people.
Red. April.
You need the cards back?
Yes, I will. Okay. Red, one for each of you. Color black, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's one for each of you. Y'all are red. 1, 2.
Ms. Kaminsky, I'm a red face card. I'm on the right.
Yes, you're in the right
Oh,
group.
no.
One for each of y'all. Team black. 2, 3. Okay, so there's one for each of y'all as well. I'll give you one for Samantha. Okay. Yep, you're gonna write on this, you're gonna fill this out as a group. Okay. So, let me open up and share real quick so I can go over this and you all can take notes as we go over this. Chapter 3, external. Okay. So you either have a team red month of April, team black month of June. Why is it necessary that you know whether it's what month it is?
Because of certain events.
How many days are in that month, right? How many days are in April? January, February, March, April. It's the in between. That means it is 30. Y'all know that little trick? Y'all don't know this trick?
No?
I don't.
Put your hand like this. Start with your knuckle, like your first knuckle. January, February, in between. March is the next knuckle, middle finger. March, April, May, June, July. Tap your pinky again, August, September, October, November, December. All the knuckles are 31 days and all the in-betweens are 30.
Oh.
Or 28 for February. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. So if you learn nothing other than that today, you can walk around and say, I know how to count my months. based on that. Okay, all right, so here we go. That's why it's important you know. So let's take a look. I'm gonna do this one right here as an example. Okay. So the first thing that we're going to do is we have to figure out what our room night share is. Now, I've already given you your market capacity for each hotel. Remember that market capacity we talked about? We took the total numbers of rooms of 550. We divided each hotel by that 550, and that's my percentage. Okay. The total room nights sold is 14,775. You know, y'all do not have this, but I'm showing you just up here for your knowledge, okay? So, of these room nights sold, I have to divide each one of these (2,025) rooms that were sold, divide that by 1,475. Okay, and so when I do that, this divided by this, it gives me 14.4%. Okay, so what I want you to do right now is go down real quick and do whatever this is, Hotel A, however many room nights they sold, and divide that by the 14,000. Now in yours, red, you're gonna do 6,985 divided by 51,823. Okay, so you're gonna do that. You're gonna use 51,823 for each of yours. For those of you who are black groups, you're gonna do 27,170. Okay. So to go quickly, what I would recommend is each person take one and then compare your answers. So you can fill that chart in relatively quickly. Then you can just check your work
Yeah.
yourself.
Any help question?
I'm sorry, I just.
13%.
So if you're doing, which one, D?
I'm doing
D,
the first one.
E?
Yeah.
So you're gonna take this number divided
Yeah,
by
you're doing
this number
percentage,
and
okay,
then the shares,
Okay,
because
you're
you're
moving
comparing the
percentage.
total number.
And then which one is he gonna do?
Which one? Mike?
Oh, flip them.
We've got
So
what?
you wanna
D.
divide
Okay, I'll do this.
this number on this number.
Is that 13? You
Yeah,
understand?
so
We got it right.
There's a percentage, yeah.
Nice. Oh,
That
right,
would be-
I got some 13. Yeah, I got one. Oh,
All right.
yeah, that looks better. So 16.3% for C.
Okay.
So put it in. Oops, right here. That's more. You can put on.
All right, so put your pencils down just for a second, so I have your attention. Okay, so as we look at this, the first question is which hotels or hotel earned its fair share of room nights? So I'm looking at my example, not yours. Look at mine real quick. Okay. So basically, did Hotel A, did they earn their fair share?
Yes,
Why?
so they were over 14%.
Because their room night share is higher than their market capacity share. So 14.4. Hotel B,
Yes.
Yes,
C,
yes,
D,
no,
and E.
No.
No, right? So this would be A, B, and C. D and E did not reach their did not get their fair share, okay? So I want you to answer that question based on your hotel, based on your hotel group.
A, did you see this? B. C, D. D, D, E. Okay, so you know the number one.
Right?
Did y'all put 36% or y'all put the 20?
Up to 36.0.
yeah, I was
just see why.
What'd you put?
36. Okay, because this one is greater than. Okay, but that's. Thank
All right, so the red group, which hotels? Red group, which hotels got their fair share?
A, C, and E.
A, C, and E, okay, good. And what about the black groups? Which ones got their fair share?
D and E.
D and E. Okay, so we're on the right track. Good. Now, next thing we're gonna do is our occupancy percentage. Okay? We're gonna do our occupancy percentage. So, listen up real quick, because this is gonna be really important. Okay? This is the month of November. So how many days in November? There's 30. November's on the. I forgot. November. Also, the way to remember that is because if you're going by knuckles and valleys, right? If it's next to December, which we know has 31, then November automatically has 30, right? Anyway, sorry. Okay, so occupancy percentage. Hotel A sold 2,025 rooms. But Hotel A, remember, we have to do 75 rooms times 30 days. So 75 times 30 is 2250. Okay, so what I would recommend you do is right here in the parentheses, I put in parentheses 2250. So what I would recommend you do is multiply each one of these rooms by 30 and put the number, that total number in the parentheses, because you're gonna need it for occupancy and you're gonna need it for RevPAR. Okay? You're gonna need it for occupancy and RevPAR. So what I would do is I would go ahead and just write it in right here. So what is 100 times 30? 3,000. 3,000. Exactly. So you do it on yours. On the red and the black, you do that in that little parentheses, just write what that number is times 30.
No.
Because that will give you your total
So if
rooms.
we're doing the number, that's what we did, so we're gonna multiply it by 30. So do all of these times 30.
Okay.
Oh, and then just write it. So that's not right, don't put that number.
Why do you think
Because he's got a different.
I have different
Oh,
numbers.
different, don't copy anything.
Yeah, so it'll be whatever the room night sold is divided by.
Get it? 200 times 30, nope, just times 30. So you get that number, that's just, like you said. So that's what, so that's like how many rooms per month. So all of them times 30, and just write that number. Prevention is going. That's some new truck.
All right, so now everyone look up for me real quick. I'm gonna take my occupancy percentage, the total room nights sold, and divide by whatever that number is that I got. Okay? And I'm going to do something else so I can calculate it much faster. Okay? And then I click and drag. And I get all of them. Okay? So I'm gonna basically take the room nights sold and divide it by that number that I have in parentheses. That's my occupancy for the month. Okay? I've given you the ADR. And then the RevPAR is the total revenue. Is the total revenue divided by the room we have times 30. Rooms in the hotel times 30. So again, your RevPAR should be lower than your ADR. Okay? What I want you to do is I want you to take the next few minutes and I want you to find out the occupancy, the ADR, and the RevPAR. Okay? Just those three columns. Don't worry about the penetration index yet. We're just going to do the occupancy, the ADR, and just the RevPAR and occupancy. Okay? So occupancy and RevPAR. Those
You got it right then.
two sections.
So you get, so the next one, you get it?
So,
Doing occupancy percentage
call it 92.7.
divided by this.
And you're working on two as well, what you get, 94.6.
Yeah, 93.3.
Oh, for the occupancy,
93, yeah, I rounded to 1. What did you round your first one to?
2, yeah.
From what?
93.
And then, yeah,
Okay.
you just want to. You got it, so.
Available rooms per month.
Looks like it sounds right, I think.
Nos acabamos de multiplicar. Maybe I did it.
I'm not sure.
Sí, es el precio de aquí.
Oh, 1,000?
I'm already feeling.
So,
Pictures of myself.
No, that's right. You're doing
Occupancy and then the RevPAR.
Occupancy and RevPAR only. Yep.
Okay.
Occupancy and RevPAR only.
You're on the right track.
Thanks.
Y lo tenemos que dividir.
It's total percentage, yes, so whatever the.
And then do we divide by
Total divided by.
Oh, wait, no, we would divide by 30.
por los totales.
I don't remember.
Completely different answers. So for the ADR,
Okay.
total revenue for the total rooms sold.
Okay, so how did you, so the best thing to do is to write things down, cause if I can't see what numbers you divided to
I
get
did
this.
this divided by that.
No, occupancy, we're just looking at room numbers.
Yeah.
No,
Right.
that was just so we could
Did it
figure out
because
the
you're confusing
occupancy.
sometimes.
That's
So
right.
this one is,
Remember, he's doing.
you
this
did
for the whole
revenue
month.
divided by that,
Mhm.
that's your
That's the
revenue per
revenue for the
available
whole
room. So
month.
these numbers are
Okay.
correct,
So we need 80.
they're revenue
So-
per available room. You divided by revenue.
Those-
When we're looking at occupancy, we're looking at the
Before we,
nights that we
before we
sold,
get some wrong.
divided by the nights that we're available to sell, okay?
So I would just put these there.
You got the same as me, Daniel?
Yeah, so this is $88.13 is your revenue per available
I
room.
think that's how he said we could.
Okay.
Yeah. Only thing I didn't do, I didn't round it.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I round some and I round, I don't round others.
This is correct.
That's the only
It's,
thing I didn't
it's
do.
the exit revenue
Uh-huh,
over the amount of rooms.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, now we need a
Yep.
phone number.
that's your revenue per available room, correct? Yes,
Mm.
revenue per available room,
The second one is.
yes.
Or actually, I would just put.
Would we divide
Money.
this number?
Oh, okay, I know
That many people?
Yep,
Okay.
Here,
that's your revenue, that's total revenue
So try.
per the available rooms for the
No,
month.
no es el
Okay.
55 millones,
First couple, so you're only doing.
sino que usas el revenue del hotel.
Yeah,
this divided by the. Ajá,
So,
porque ese es el
divided,
penetration
yes.
report. Yo creo que ese
And
tiene
that's
que ver
what
con
those-
este.
Oh.
Porque este report es
I
de.
think I maybe just rounded
en
it.
los-
So you're gonna
For this
divide,
number, what is?
that is how many rooms they had.
That's right, right?
Uh,
Okay. Oh, yeah, because we divided these two.
Yes.
Okay.
Now you're gonna divide that. times that is-
No, es.
To find
no,
the-
es
Find how much, yeah.
Millón
how much
117 117 600 dividido entre
Your rooms would be.
setenta.
Per night. Yeah.
Because
So that divided by the seven.
I'm trying to let it be.
something Give you. that much. Yeah, gosh.
71%.
Ajá, o sea, van los. Va el revenue arriba. Porque
Yeah, the rest of it.
la fórmula de revenue over.
Oh, right, I was doing the.
So would that be
I don't know what I did.
1.75?
So the.
I don't worry about that.
I have 58.9.
Do it again. Show.
Oh, the total revenue divided by total rooms, which actually.
Is it the one sold or the total? Hold on.
I think it's total revenue divided by total rooms sold.
Or which one? Total revenue divided by the total rooms available for the month.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah.
You Tom, Sarah.
I did mine by so don't look.
No, she was trying to, figure it- she couldn't figure this one out.
Yeah.
You okay?
You're good?
You missed, you missed right for.
Okay, so I just labeled the columns
So like, I know. like,
by number,
that, but I'm not
and then like in this
understanding.
column, this is gonna be column D. This number is,
The
Divided
total
by
revenue, that's how much
number
revenue they
times the
received
days
for
of
the
the month.
whole month.
does that make sense?
That is the number.
So that's your formula. Whatever's in column D,
So you divided the
times
revenue
B.
times
within this time of the month, right?
able to sell for the whole
So-
month.
So I don't have to multiply by 3 because it's already
No.
calculated right
Yeah.
there. Okay, gotcha.
Okay, so whatever's column D. Divided by
The
this,
total room revenue divided by.
times by the number of days in the month, right? So 200 times 30 is 3,000. Or 6,000, sorry, 6,000.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, 6,000. So that's this number that you wrote.
Yeah,
down.
call yourself.
49 cents.
Times 7,500.
So in parentheses.
76.
And then this column is column F, the room
You
revenue,
know, so do that.
divided by
yeah.
whatever in column B
Divided by
times the
this.
days of the month, okay? So that might help you keep it track a little bit. Yep, yep, sounds good. guys are okay?
No, so we're
Okay,
only
you
doing
answered the
June,
question.
so June has 30 days, so that's how we know how many we're selling.
It's fine.
In a month. So that's how much they incurred, that's how much they made per room.
Dyslexia is
She goes, I ain't, hey, at least like Michelle on them.
Just gotta know.
Yeah, so you'll take this, whatever this revenue is.
Go sit back there
divide by
and just
that
watch
number.
for hours.
So like the other two did do that when you're accounting for 1 week and you had to multiply by 7. So this is what you be. That's why I want to count. It's times the.
Are you gonna go one day like during the week?
Yeah, so that's why I'm 30, like some of the other girls have added 1.
So like.
That's what I'm gonna do.
Oh, okay. I just have to remember that that.
Just gotta-
No, you just have to remember that this is 1 day.
Okay.
So.
Take
that times by 30.
Like, I think how much money they spend on.
Okay, let me see if I can.
Find out.
All right, give me 1 second. Let's look real quick. 'Cause I know some people we're still working, but there's some of the people that were ready to move on, so that's okay.
Then you can just. write
The
it.
next thing we're gonna look at is comparing our performance to that of our competitors, okay? So how do you find the average of anything? Add them all up and then divide by the number, right? So in this case, the average occupancy percentage for the market, okay? I'm going to do equals this plus that plus that plus that plus that. Close my parentheses and divide by 5. Okay, so my .86, but I want it to be a percentage. There we go. Okay. So my average market percentage is 86%. Okay,
And then don't forget to get your average from.
and then you want to do your average for each one. So your average occupancy, your average ADR, and your average RevPAR. That's why it has the white boxes on the bottom row. Those are your market averages. Okay? Your market averages.
So divide by 5.
It is.
Yeah, that's why.
Well,
Yeah. That's your average market value.
The.
So actually, like.
I get you, get you. Do.
I should have done it by. So.
You know what?
At 97,
Yeah.
97.97.
That's what I was looking at.
Well. No, okay. Right. So we.
So you find your averages. Okay?
These are all different hotels. So this is the total.
The RevPAR?
Modified.
Did you round your?
By
may have rounded wrong.
total revenue, so you divide this revenue.
Me or
by
her?
whatever
She has
total
88 and 7 cents.
Cause Chris said that there was.
Total rooms available.
No, you
switch
can't,
it.
you just rounded up your data.
All right, so everyone look up real
No,
quick.
no,
I'm gonna do the
no.
last step. Okay? I'm gonna do the last step. The next thing that we talked about in the PowerPoint was the penetration index, okay? So basically, how did I compare to my competitors? Now, I can look at this right here, and which hotel has the highest occupancy percentage?
See?
Yes.
C,
Yeah, you're a little.
okay, at 91%. Okay, I know I have the highest occupancy, but what I want to know is how does my occupancy compare to the average of the market? Okay, so to find the penetration index, what you do, take a look at this. You take the hotel's occupancy and you divide by the average of the market. Okay, we take the hotel's occupancy and divide by the market average. So you're gonna divide each one of these by the same number, okay? So by doing this, I look at this and I know 91%, 91.7% is the highest percentage, but it's 106% of the market average. So anything that's over 100 means that they went above the market average. Anything that's under 100 means that they are below the average of the market. Okay, so for this question here, which hotels performed above the average occupancy percentage? It would be Hotel A and Hotel C. And then below would be everybody else. B, D, and E. Okay? I'm gonna do the same thing for ADR as well as RevPAR. Now, one last thing I'm gonna show you, one last little Excel trick. Okay? If I do this equals this, like equals 115 divided by 109, it's I-80 divided by I-86, correct? So I hit enter. What happens when I click and I drag this?
It's gonna fill it in.
Excel, what it does is it adds one number. So this is I-81, but it's bringing it down to I-87. I want to keep it at I-86, okay? So to correct that, this little fun fact, a little trick about Excel, highlight I-86, hit F4, it adds those dollar signs. And that basically tells Excel, I want you to keep that number the same. I don't want you to move that number. So now I hit enter.
I did it.
Oh, Control Z. Z. There we go. F4. Then it automatically keeps it at 86. So that way I don't have to go and change it every single time. Equals that number divided by this number, highlight it. You can type in the dollar signs if you want to, but F4 is the shortcut. So now I take a look at this and I can evaluate my hotel, okay? Which we'll get into in the next few minutes. So go ahead and do that for your properties. Yes.
How did we do the
How-
ADR?
So the penetration index does not matter whatever you're doing, occupancy, ADR, RevPAR. You're just taking each hotel's performance and divide it by the average of the market. Okay, so my average ADR divided by the market's average.
Okay.
This hotel's divided by the market average. Okay, same thing with RevPAR. So this RevPAR divided by the market average of the RevPAR. So that penetration index, no matter what you're looking at, You're just taking the hotel's performance divided by the market average.
So you're doing the exact same thing you
Dollars and
just did
48
for
cents.
occupancy. No, except we're doing ADR now, so it's not going to divide it by this. It's gonna give you a percent. You mean one? Mhm. It's like an over, the market share, that's how we know. If we go over 100, they're going, oh. Divided by that. Nine times that by 100. No, I didn't think so, but I felt it. Did you just say that? What numbers do that? This one. 114. You times that by 100.
ADR, can you get the ADR?
So you're gonna divide.
If you want, you can check your work up on the screen.
I'm gonna divide that.
Okay, well, the ADR,
This.
yes.
This divided by that. This.
Times 100?
Yes. Yeah, let me. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying, maybe 5%, I want, that's what I'm like. Did you just, what is it? 3-7. Yeah.
Well, which one is ours?
Ours is the. Mr. Uniski. Well, chocolate.
Yes.
On, the one that's up there says 14.5%. On ours, we get 114.37, so we round it to 1.4.
That's okay. Excel is probably thinking about all the nuts, so yeah. it's
Okay.
It's also because you probably rounded this to, you probably put in 93.1 divided by 81.4. Whereas Excel is taking into account all the other numbers that are
Okay.
in the formula, or in the number, so yeah. By one decimal, it's not gonna be horrible.
These are your rich numbers.
How do you do it for
What numbers?
So one time?
This number.
The county is.
It would.
It would.
Record average.
Have you taken his class?
Not to move any.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One, it's the first one.
When you're dividing all of them, you do the scroll down.
Sorry.
Stay on that. Move down to
Oh, when you're doing the average,
yeah.
you highlight the second number, the number that you want to, and you hit F4, and it's gonna add those $2 signs. And then that keeps the number the same.
So now F bar, so we do the same thing, this number divided by that number. And it's gonna be percent.
All right, so if you want to take just a quick moment and put your pencils down for a moment, so I know you're paying attention in the last little bit, okay? Let me unhide. Actually, let me do this. Let me go to mine. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna do what's called conditional formatting. I'm gonna highlight cells that are greater than 100%. I'm gonna want to put them in green because green is good. Okay. So if I look at this market analysis of these hotels, okay, which hotels focused more on ADR than occupancy? What that means is that sometimes if we lower our ADR, okay, or sorry, if we focus on ADR, that means I want a high ADR. But I understand that if I have a high ADR compared to my competitors, that could affect my occupancy, right? If my competitors have a low average daily rate, people might be attracted to that, which means their occupancy is going to go up. My occupancy might stay down, but I'm going to keep the integrity of my average daily rate. So in looking at this, for example, my ADR is higher, it's above the market average, but my occupancy is lower than the market average. So Hotel E is looking at trying to keep a high ADR that potentially affected my occupancy. Okay. And then which hotel performed the best in regards to revenue per available room? So I'm looking at revenue per available room. Hotel A and Hotel C are the best. Well, Hotel A is the best. Hotel D is the worst. Of these, which hotels won the market in this particular time period? A and C, because they are over 100% on every single metric. Okay, they're over 100% on every single metric. So Hotel C won in the occupancy. Hotel A won in ADR and RevPAR. So Hotel A typically would be the winner of this particular market. Okay. Questions, comments, concerns? Let's just take a look real quick at yours. Okay. So for the red team, those of you who had a red team, Hotel A, they smashed it. 133% of the ADR, 152% of the RevPAR. Okay. If you look at Hotel E, they're above the average in the occupancy, correct? But look at their ADR. They're only at 70. They're the worst for ADR and the worst for RevPAR, which means they probably lowered their rates so much that, yeah, people came to your hotel, so you had high occupancy, but your hotel only got a $90 average daily rate compared to Hotel A that was able to, for whatever reason, we don't know, Hotel A was able to get an average daily rate of $160. Okay. Now, the difference between Hotel and A and E, let's look at this. Hotel A is 250 rooms. Hotel E is 750 rooms. So Hotel E has to fill 3 times the number of rooms every single day as Hotel A does. So that's probably why they were like, I gotta lower my rate so I can get this occupancy up, right? So if we look at this rate of $74.70, that's because we have to put compare this to 3 times as many rooms. We have to fill that. Now, would these hotels, would Hotel E and A be in the same comp set? Maybe not based on room size, based on if it's all resorts, based on if it's in the same area, if it's a convention hotel, right next to the convention center, right? Those, we'll talk about what determines what hotels go into your comp sets in a later chapter, okay? But this is where revenue per available room puts things on a little bit easier perspective, because you might look, Hotel E made more money than Hotel A did. Hotel E made 1.6 million, Hotel A 1.1 million. But in the end, Hotel A only had to fill 250 rooms a night. So that revenue doesn't really necessarily mean the same thing, okay? So looking at Team Black, no hotel swept all the categories, that's okay. But if we look at ADR penetration, so if we look at the occupancy compared to ADR and RevPAR, so the ADR of 82%, the ADR of 105, they lowered that. They had their rate a little bit lower than the other rooms of like 160 and 150, but they were able to get a higher occupancy percentage because of that. Okay. But then you come over here and look, and they actually still performed higher on the ADR. And that's because of the number of rooms that the hotel has. Okay. I read an article once. In the last 4 minutes, I'll tell you all this story. I read an article once during grad school. I found an article from the San Antonio Business Journal. And if I can find it, I'll post it. I can't remember if I know where I saved it. But essentially, the article was ranking the hotels in the Eagle Ford Shale. Y'all know Eagle Ford Shale area? Eagle Ford Shale area is south of San Antonio. It's where they were doing a lot of fracking. So there was a lot of development in oil and gas down there. And so they did an article based on the revenue of all the hotels in the area. And they basically ranked them 1 through 10. And the highest one was an independent hotel. The lowest ranked one at number 10 was a Holiday Inn Express. Okay. And so they were just like, well, these are the best performing hotels. Well, from an uneducated business journal perspective, yeah, that looks like they're performing better. But that Holiday Inn Express only had 99 rooms. Whereas that independent hotel had 250 rooms. And so they had more rooms to fill every night than those 99. And so I took that information and I recalculated it and I did it according to RevPAR. And according to RevPAR, the top 3 hotels, of the top 5 hotels, 3 of them were Best Westerns or in Holiday Inn Express. So what that told me, looking at that from an investment standpoint, is that people want those branded hotels in those areas because they want their points. They want to be able to capitalize on that, right? Or I know what to expect when I walk into a Holiday Inn Express. I don't know what to expect when I walk into Pleasanton Inn, right? Not that that's a bad thing. I don't know that there is a Pleasanton Inn. Okay, I don't mean that derogatory. I'm just saying I know what to expect when I walk into a branded hotel. Okay, and so that RevPAR is really key to determining how you can compare one hotel to the other that has different number of rooms. Okay, so. Thank you all. There will be some questions. There is a couple questions. Yeah, just leave your cards on the table. I'll come by and pick them up. Thank you all so much. I'll see you all next week. We'll go over chapter 4. So please watch the videos for chapter 4.